Well, we're back to our session of integrating or embedding Zoom meeting inside ServiceNow. And this is a continuation of a previous video where we had to port, right? So we had to port Zoom meeting to make it work in ServiceNow. So in this video, we're going to attempt embedding this entire thing inside Service Portal, right? So well, in this case, we're not. I don't think we need to. We still have to use this UI page, Zoom asset index.do. So instead of relying, so for example, how it might work is if I add. So here's my URL, right? And if I add the ServiceNow banner to it, which is nav underscore 2.do question mark URI is equal to, and add the Zoom or think percentage 2f and so on. I think this one should be fine. So if you put it in there, if your next experience, it should be put inside the it should be put inside the next I mean below the next experience banner. But if you're in UI 16, which quite understandable, it should be you should have like a sidebar that looks like this, right? This or join your Zoom meeting. This is how you can join a Zoom meeting inside ServiceNow. So that means it is workable. It is doable. Yeah, it is actually doable in. It seems like it's not working. It is doable in ServiceNow, and I think it's also doable in Portal. Not sure why it's not working. So I think we need to encode it into URI. Well, one way to do that is to just you can do the console, or you can search for a URL encoder out there. So in case encode URI component, I'll just open my browser's console, and I can encode it myself. So let's go back here, and yeah. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's gonna work. Let's find out. So if I click join, I'm able to join the meeting inside ServiceNow, right? So yeah, I can do a full screen. I can exit from there. I'm actually surprised, just like you. This is the first time that I've seen it work like this inside ServiceNow. So the next aim is to make it work in Service Portal. Now, I'm not confident to say that we can solely rely on this URL. I think it is quite unique. I think it is unique. I'm not sure. I mean, we can go ahead and do a widget. Right. So actually, we can do it right now. So let's create a Service Portal widget. Yeah. So I'm not sure if it's gonna work in Service Portal fully. So let's go ahead and create a Service Portal widget and try to embed this URL as an iframe. So first thing we need to do is create our page. Yep. So all right, cut there, cut. So I'm not sure if it is something that we can rely on. If this URL is something we can rely on, because it's not really, it's not really. I don't think it is always like it will stay like that always. I mean, the signature and SDK key and so on may change over time. So we cannot rely on this. I think we need to really go through this meeting.js file, which is this file. I think we need to do something with the logic that they are doing in here. But before we do that, I think I'd split it to spin by creating a new Service Portal page. So sorry, how I do that is go to right. So you go to Portal Pages. Oops. Right, Service Portal and then Pages. Let's create a new page. name it Zoom meeting. The ID would be Zoom asset. We always have to put in that prefix. Zoom asset meeting. There we go. And then that's it. It's putting the role as internal for now. Oh, it doesn't have anything. So I think I'm missing the plugin for explicit roles. Just put it that way for now. And open the designer, which we're going to do so later on, but we need first to create a widget, say Zoom asset meeting, right? So this will be our placeholder for that meeting. And yeah, for the body HTML template, I think we need this where we need to do an iframe, right? And yep, I think that's it. This is where we put in this entire so we need to decode this, I suppose. Right, we need to decode. We encode it, but we also have to decode. Just have to press F12 and decode URI component. So we need to reference this. Let's go back to that source, and that should be it. Of course, this is let's try to follow XHTML. Maybe put in width is equal 100%. I would use new line there. Width and height is 100%. Let's try to do that. And then for the for the HTML, I think that's it. Let's try to save it. Go back to the page, ServiceNow page, Service Portal page, and open it in Designer. And this time we're going to plug that widget to this page. So go to the widget, a widget filter, type in our Zoom asset meeting. Before we do that, we need to put in a container. So let's put in, let's put in there, click plus and choose 12. It's up to you, but for now, for this demonstration, we're going to use 12 and just drag our newly created widget there. And that's it, right? Okay, so now it seems to be done. So we're going to open Service Portal page by going to Service Portal, click that Service Portal home, and in the URL, instead of in the URL section of it, instead of question mark sysparams tag no, you need to remove that, put in ID is equal to, and then your page ID, which is Zoom asset meeting. Let's copy that and paste here. And yeah, I don't know why it's doing that. Yeah, now I can join from here. Seems like I can join from here now. Right, so that's it. Right, I can join it from. I can now join this meeting through the through ServiceNow. Maybe this time we have to use styling. So for the styling, height is equal to 100%. It seems to be not working. Width is 100%. Not sure why it's doing that sizing. So I think we need to modify our our iframe CSS so that it's not reliant on that. I guess we have to like specify this in the CSS and say like an absolute size, for example 1200 pixels, or maybe 800 pixels. So that seems to do the job. So yeah, I guess that's how we can do it. Just put in there the height of the iframe, our widget, right? So you need to go back to our widget, and instead of so instead of that, we can put in there like 850 pixels or 820 pixels, right? Do we need to add a PX? I don't think so. I think that would be fine. So here's how it looks like, right? If I refresh that again. So that means we can start joining the meeting from here. Now we can make it much more dynamic. So for example, instead of for this MN and the signature, MN and the password, we can put in there like an option schema. So I think this is the part where we open it in the widget editor, and from there we can edit the option schema. Option schema, and say, oh, the first label is meeting ID, right? And then default value, let's put that in data. Let's add another here, which is the password, meeting password. This is, I think that's fine, and that will be in data. That's it. So now we have those set up, and I think what we need to do next is I think there's some options here. So widget options, client script. I can't remember how you can access those options. So based on ServiceNow's documentation, you can access from service script like this, and it's in client script like this, and you can also access it like this way in our HTML. So if you go back here, we can do further editing. We can. I'm going to try to do it in a simplified way. But really, you can add something here like c.options.meeting ID. Is that really meeting ID? So meeting ID, and then next is the password needs to be c.options.meeting password. Click save. And so if I go there, go ahead and click that widget, edit that widget. Now I can provide a meeting ID, which is the meeting ID from this, right? And meeting password would be this. Save. So if I go back here, the meeting ID and password is not placed in there, so that's great. Stop video or click join. Try. It's like a wrong parameter, so maybe it did not come through. You can also do a debugging. Right. So I guess we can do server. Well, let's try this. Oh, that makes sense. The reason why it's not working is because we don't have this. Maybe that's the case. We need to add this double colon. Save. See if we can debug this by adding in a payload js.infomessage, json.stringify, c.options null2 dot replace new line with br. Save. Go back here. So we have the meeting ID and we have the meeting password correctly. So, right. So not sure though why it's not referencing it correctly. If we inspect the element, it seems to be, oh, right. So it's not doing its job, right? It's not, yeah, that makes sense. So it's not working at all. Not sure if it's actually correct or not. Let's also try this. All right, H1. c.meetOptions.meeting ID. Meeting ID. That's it. Save. It gets passed. It's not being processed at all. It's weird. So weird. C.options. Maybe I don't need that. So let's try again. Yeah, it's so weird. If it's just me or if I'm missing anything else there. Right. Move diaphragm. Fresh. So it's working without the iframe. All right, that's crazy. So it's working without the iframe. So I think cannot make it work without the iframe. Right. We can't make it work with iframe. My other speculation is maybe the iframe gets loaded and so it screws up the AngularJS. So let's see if like if this URL, let's put it in the client side script. Let's save it. All right, refresh. So I don't think the iframe is breaking it. I think it is the contents inside that. So I think we can just go ahead and put that as a URL here. So c dot c dot URL is URL. Or did I do that? So just put it there, and just like that. I guess we can make it work. Should be an error, so that's fine. So it's still working. But instead in here we are going to append stuff like the meeting ID. So meeting ID is equal to c.options.meeting ID. Meeting password is equal to c.options.meeting password. And from here, instead of using this, just go ahead and say, oh, I'd like to concatenate meeting password variable and the meeting ID. Right, so that's it. And if we save that. So the good thing about this approach is it gives way first for AngularJS to get loaded first before we plug that URL. So if I say, oh, that's it, click join, and there should be like, oh, you're waiting for the meeting host will let you join, will let you in soon. So yeah, I guess that's it. There's so many other ways to, we can also say, oh, I think it doesn't have to come from the option schema. I think it has to come from the URL parameters, right? So I have here an approach to how we can do this we can grab URL parameters. I'm not, you can definitely correct me on this, but I think that maybe there's a way the ServiceNow way to do this correctly. But in my case, I'll just use the browser's API to make it work. So we can also grab URL parameters like that. All right, so I can say, you know what, let's go ahead and alert the KV as a JSON file. Place all line breaks with break, save, go back to the meeting. Oh, what happened there? KV. Oh, right. So seems to be working. Right. So SBUTL add info message. So let's remove this. So imagine if I put in there ampersand meeting ID is equal to, yeah, like this once, right? And then yeah, it's just an example. So if I go there and put it like this, so wow, I don't know what's happened. What happened there? Seems to have caused like a script error. SPUTL is not defined. Of course, it's oh yeah, right. Um, I think it's only in the server side script. Not sure how I can add like pop a message there. Um, but yeah, maybe alert is the only way to do it, and we don't need to replace it with BR. That's alert. Fresh, and you can see that it's now processing the right URL parameters, right? So you can put in there like if there's a schema, follow the schema. Well, if there's URL parameter, follow the URL parameter from key variable. Otherwise, it's use the option schema, right? Same for the meeting password. So you can do so many things from here moving forward. So yeah, meeting password. Let's say meeting password, and I guess that's it, right? Let's save this. Go back to the widget instance in the page, and instead of providing them here, right? Imagine if we just provide them from the URL. So meeting ID and meeting password is this. Is it working? I don't think. Oh well, seems to be working. It's working still, right? Because now the details are provided via URL, but it's still working. So yeah, I guess that's how you do it. This I think is already a lot of information on how you can embed this meeting in ServiceNow, and I hope it's been a very helpful thing for you. Especially if you're going to use do something like this in your project. This is how you do it. One more thing before I close this video, before I shut this video, this recording, you can also uh, add you can obfuscate not obfuscate but rather yeah, maybe that's the way. Or you can hide it in an ID. So you can create like a meeting table, right? And then in that meeting table, that's where you store the passwords and the meeting ID. And the only thing that you provide here is the meeting sys ID, right? The sys ID of the record and not the Zoom details itself. So that's how you can obfuscate or hide those meeting details. So you're not compromising your meeting credentials. I guess that's it, right? If you have any questions, just you can reach out. I would love to talk about this. You can search me on LinkedIn. It's Alan Did Not Talk, or you can reach out to me via email, Did Not Talk, talk to Alan@gmail.com. And I'm on a free Zoom. That's why I have that. So yeah, you can always reach out to me if you have any questions. I would love to have a chat about this idea. All right, cheers and thank you.